Big food companies are capitalizing on the anti diet movement, and buckle your seatbelts because this one is interesting. So, this article was sent to me by a client, and I thought it was fascinating. It starts with telling the story of this Jay Rochon, is I think her name, and how she had been trying to lose weight and then not fell into, but decided to go the anti diet route, which was being touted by a lot of dietitians on social media. I don't know if you can see here, but she actually ended up gaining 50 pounds doing the anti diet approach. And this anti diet approach from these dietitians is largely being pushed by big food companies, specifically cereal companies, one of them being General Mills here, who make some of our favorites, some of our favorite health foods, Cocoa Puffs and Lucky Charms, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch, right? Now, here's the interesting thing General Mills, in the recent years here, they have been reaching out to online influencers, dietitian and nutritionist influencers, to try and get them to promote their products using this anti diet lens and talking about the harms of food shaming to get people to honestly buy more of their products. I can't be mad at General Mills. This is actually brilliant, using influencer marketing to push a narrative that, quite frankly, isn't true to be able to get people to buy their products. So it seems to have worked. And we can see here some of the hashtags that were used: no bad foods, food freedom, ditch the diet. There was another one on the last slide, I can't remember. And the Washington Post, who made this article, they actually analyzed a ton of different social media accounts and found that 68 different registered dietitians with at least 10,000 followers were pushing these messages and also being sponsored by General Mills. And look, we know that the US obesity rate has kind of gone crazy. It's doubled since the 80s. I think we're currently at about 44-ish%, estimated to be at 50% obese by 2030. And again, we have food experts who are being paid to promote unhealthy food in an effort to make people healthier. I don't get it. It boggles my mind. One of my favorite little tidbits from this article was a specific dietitian here. Here's her name, promoting the Big G cereals from General Mills, which include, again, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cocoa Puffs, and Trix, which are, again, just the epitome of health when it comes to food, is highly processed cereal. Just so we can all see here too, this is our favorite Cinnamon Toast Crunch. You can see here 12 grams of sugar per serving with 2 grams of protein, 4 grams of fat per 1 cup. And let's be honest, when you're eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch, who's eating just 1 cup? I mean, that shit's fire. But also, come on, it's not a health food. And something else about this that makes it interesting is that a lot of these influencers who were sponsored by General Mills, so on social media, if you're sponsoring a product or a company or post, you need to actually have informed consent for your viewers to know that it's an ad. And they weren't doing that, which is, again, illegal. To make matters even more interesting, these large food companies, General Mills being one of them, PepsiCo being another, you can see here, were at the Denver Nutrition Conference last year, just buddying up with a bunch of nutritionists and dietitians, helping them spread the word of the anti-diet movement and, being able to eat whatever we want and just be healthy because, we don't want to have shame around our food. And I'm not saying that we need to be shameful around our food, but you at least need to be mindful and know what you're putting in and what the result will be. To add to the madness, or to the fun, we'll say, and this is something I talk about all the time, is that the food companies have actually been sponsoring and paying for studies to show that their products are healthy. So you can see here that they sponsored, 7 different studies since 2019 claiming that their cereal is beneficial. One even said that kids who eat cereal, like highly processed sugary cereal, are healthier body weights than kids who ate other food for breakfast or skip breakfast, right? I'm sure they're way healthier than kids who ate eggs or any sort of protein for breakfast. And they even went to the level of threatening to take legal action if they were not allowed to say that their products were healthy because there was some rules that people wanted to put in place, that legislation being written to say that they wanted to let people know that, hey, this actually isn't that healthy. And they're like, well, that's an infringement on our First Amendment rights. So you got to let us tell everyone that it's healthy, even though it's not. Even more interesting is that this whole idea of anti-diet, health at every size, stop the shame, all of that has been growing a ton since in the last 5-7 years. And of the foods mentioned, ice cream is the number one mention. So ice cream, obviously a health food. In fact, here's the chart provided by the Washington Post of the, I think is it millions or I don't know, the amount of discourse or the amount of posts being used, these hashtags. You can see that it's definitely skyrocketed quite a bit. And in sharing all this, I think it's important to note that there is chronic disease directly related to obesity, to having excess body fat, and these companies are basically just trying to whitewash that and say, no, that's not true. That's not what's actually going on. So I don't know. This is a very interesting one to me, knowing that there's a lot of, again, influencers and people who are registered dietitians who are kind of going against what they learned to get paid by these companies to promote certain messages. And I just found it interesting. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts? If you have any thoughts, drop in the comments. And I hope you're being well and staying fit and active.